Through the generous contribution of Dr. Lewis's family, we're very fortunate to be able to share with you these timeless recordings of Dr. M. W. Lewis, a self-realized American yogi. Dr. Lewis was Paramahansa Yogananda's first American disciple and dearest personal friend. The wisdom Dr. Lewis imparts through these teachings will give you a dynamic and practical insight into the ancient science of yoga as taught by Paramahansa Yogananda. This lecture's title is How to Get Along with Others, and was delivered in San Diego, California on January 18th, 1959.
Our subject this morning, how to get along with others. Quite a big problem, quite a subject. How to get along with others, or we might call it human relations. This human relationship must, to be successful, be based upon one thing: brotherly love. Whether we realize it or not, we are all dependent upon that underlying unity of consciousness or love to live successfully with one another and also to live in God's presence. We cannot live in His presence without question of a doubt unless we feel brotherly love. In the Scriptures, in Matthew, it speaks about the two great commandments. The first is, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy strength and thy heart and thy might. And thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. And therefore, the law of human relationship, or how to get along with others, depends on that law. All the law and the prophets, every law in business, in any field of endeavor, depends and hinges on understanding that law. Therefore, we can see to get along with others means that we must understand the underlying unity of consciousness, which is God's consciousness, which infiltrates each and every one of us, and which is His love. If we but understand that and apply that to our relationships with one another, it won't be long before things will clear up as you begin to feel the presence of God in yourself and in others. And so, without question of a doubt, brotherly love is the foundation which is necessary to get along in this world, or for this world to be livable. And man will find individually that if he understands the law of love, and also if man understands it collectively, this law of love, then nations will get along also. We can get along with one another if we understand this underlying law of love, which is the most exact. And we will get along as nations only when we understand this law. The hearts of men have to be changed before there'll be lasting peace on earth. They try everything else but that. They try all sorts of committees and whatever you call those bodies of men that meet to discuss these problems. But they do not work things out. Why? Because one thing is necessary. God and God alone. And what is God? God is love. God is love, a great force that is pulling all things back to Him, including you and including me and planets and suns. All things are being drawn back to Him by one force. And the feeling aspect in that force is love. Therefore, it is love that must be understood if we are to solve this question of how to get along with one another, or the question of human relationship. And so the first law in getting along with others is what? Change yourself. Everybody else is wrong. We're all right. That's not so. Change yourself is the first law. Master used to say, learn how to behave. We all think we behave perfectly. But there's something wrong. There's an awful mess around us. Learn how to behave. Change yourself is the first thing. the first thing we must learn to do. And the point is this, that if people affect you, there's something wrong with your behaviorism. Now, think it over. Somebody comes up and you bristle right up. There may not be anything wrong with that person. There surely is something wrong with you. Because the moment they disturb you, the moment they affect you, there's something wrong with you. Your ego is being hurt. Realize that. Now, when you can reach the point when no one can disturb you, no matter what they do to you, how meanly they treat you, you feel the same, then you're all right. That's the key. Remember that. If people affect you, think it over now. If people affect you, there's something wrong with your behaviorism. Of course, if they do things which they shouldn't do and are not becoming, you have to hiss, as the Master used to say, a little bit. But if it doesn't affect you inwardly, you're all right. If it does, change yourself. Change yourself. Learn to behave, Master used to say. Now, some people get along with everybody. They're fine. Others get along with no one. They're ornery. As a matter of principle, they fight. But some get along with everybody. Some don't. So we should have that divine carriage. That divine carriage as God's children. Not as just human beings. We should have that divine carriage wherein we